President Tyler Weatherall. Great to have you here, Tyler. Did I say your last name right?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. And then we have Vice President Abby Kelly, who's a senior. Great to have you here, Abby. And also we have Secretary Maddie Rinker, who is a senior. Great to have you here, Maddie.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what you do as president, Tyler.
I run the meetings and I like to keep everybody in line in the chapter.
Going on with the vice president, what do you do?
I assist Tyler during meetings and also during our banquet.
Tell me a little bit about the banquet. How often do you guys do that? When is it? What's the deal there?
We have a banquet once a year. It's March 26th this year, and it's mainly like an awards banquet where you get recognized for all of our SAEs and contests we've competed in this past year.
I want to talk about the SAEs and the contests and stuff and how Stewardson-Strausburg FFA has done over the course of the year. But first, we got to cover a couple of bases here, including Maddie. What do you do as secretary?
I take notes at the meeting and roll call who all shows up.
So I understand you got elections coming up here before the end of the year to find the next president, the next vice president, the next secretary, et cetera, et cetera. So when that election happens, what will your role be from that time to the end of the school year? As seniors, I understand that role is a little bit different.
So we kind of first we pick the officers. Us seniors get to elect the officers, and then it's a slate that we have to nominate, and then the members of the FFA have to kind of like see if they like the slate or not. And then once we enroll the officers, we just kind of show them what we do and how we do it so they can fit in pretty well next year.
And what do you have your sights set on from now until elections, which would kind of signify the end of your term?
So today is actually the petting zoo, and then so we kind of just especially since it's FFA week, we kind of just show the members what we really do as officers, and then we kind of adapt to and have them adapt to what we are doing.
Right. You are in the middle of FFA week. Is your school doing any themed events for each day? What were they?
Yesterday was Tractor Day, which was the biggest turnout we've ever had. And then today is Petting Zoo, which is also dressed like a farmer. Tomorrow is Truck Day and the breakfast from 6 to 8 a.m. And then Friday is Ag Olympics in the junior high and the high school, where we just kind of do some farm games, and then we all participate in them.
Yeah, right. How's the petting zoo going? I know it's a little bit wet out there.
It's pretty good so far. I mean, I think our advisor, Mrs. Barker, said we see 216 students today. So, I mean, it'll be pretty chaotic, but I mean, we've been here for 4 years. We'll have it under control.
Maddie, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
It's in our shop, so it's not like the weather is really putting the damper in it. It's in the shop, so it's kind of keeping it cool out there too with the door open.
Fantastic. Let's start with Maddie for this question. What is being a part of Stewardson-Strausburg FFA mean to you?
Being a part of the FFA chapter, it's been a part of my family. I have 3 older siblings who have been actively in it, and so I kind of grew up knowing what it was. And I've always wanted to be a part of it and just get my name out there. And it's also a really great thing to do because you can make all these new friends, and it builds leadership too.
Abby, what does being a part of FFA mean to you?
Being an FFA means a lot to me because, like Maddie said, I've had an older sister that's been an FFA before, and my parents have also both been an FFA. And I want to go into a career that involves agriculture. So FFA has helped me just step into that, I guess. And I met a lot of new friends and connections through FFA.
Tyler, same question to you. What does being a part of FFA mean?
So my grandpa, Mark Wildman, was a FFA advisor for quite some time until he retired. And then he kind of showed me what the ways were. And then that kind of really made an interest to me. I also grew up on a farm. I'm still on the farm, and I plan to major in ag business. So being an FFA is just kind of in my family and my history and everything.
What would you tell someone who's on the fence about joining FFA, Tyler?
It's definitely worth it. It's the most fun thing you'll probably ever do. I mean, you get to meet so many different people. I mean, once you go to all these contests, you're always meeting new people, and then you can maybe even meet your best friend in the future. And just, I mean, it's just always really fun.
Abby, what would you tell someone who's thinking about joining FFA, but they're just not quite sure yet?
I would tell them to definitely try it out because a lot of people are nervous about start trying something new. And I think if you try something new, that it'll open up your eyes. Because I know whenever I first joined, I wasn't the most, I don't know, talkative person, I guess. And I met a lot of new friends and competed in many new things that have made me like talk to people more and just make new friendships.
Maddie, same question.
I would say to do it because you get to experience a lot of new things that you wouldn't do if you didn't join it, like all the contests and conventions that you have. And you also like meet a lot of new people and you miss a lot of school. So that's a plus.
We don't tell the advisors that that's a benefit of joining, but yes, it's there. Well, Tyler, what are your future plans after you graduate high school? I know you mentioned you want to be in the agricultural industry. What does that entail?
Yeah, so I'll probably get an ag business degree, 4-year degree, a bachelor's degree, and then hopefully find a job around home, and then hopefully help on the family farm.
Maddie, what are your plans after you graduate?
I'm going to go to Lakeland and I'm going to major in elementary education and then go to a 4-year university to finish out that degree.
I want to come back to you and talk a little bit more about that. But first, Abby, what are your plans? I think you mentioned agriculture as well.
Yeah, so after graduating high school, I plan to attend Lakeland in the ag transfer program and hopefully major in animal science and specialize in bovine reproductive health, and then transfer to a 4-year university after that.
Going back to Maddie, interesting teaching, right? How do you feel being a part of FFA and being the secretary of FFA among any of your other responsibilities will help you be a teacher?
I think it's really, especially with FFA week, we get to deal with the kids a lot, especially during today with the petting zoo. And it's really cool because some of them haven't grown up on farms or haven't really seen all the animals. So you get to talk to them about it and give them some information, and like just seeing their interest with it really opens your eyes. Like not everyone gets to see what an animal looks like because they don't have it in their backyard. And I would like to do like ag in the classroom too, just to bring knowledge to all the little kids who may not have the knowledge.
Interesting. So you want to stay in ag, but you also want to teach. There's avenues for that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, let's take a quick time out, and then we'll talk a little bit about some of the stuff that Stewardson-Strausburg FFA has completed over the course of the year. That includes your SAEs and, of course, any conventions or competitions or events you've attended. And I want to hear all about it here next, here on the WTIM Morning Show. More from President of the chapter, Tyler Wetherall. Take me a couple times, Tyler. Vice President Abby Kelly and Secretary Maddie Rinker here on the WTIM Morning Show. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you'll always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust. They put people first.
WTIM. Medicine in Taylorville at 217-824-1134 or click their icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Forward
This is
for
Megan
happy,
Lopez
healthy
with Dusty's
families.
Burger Joint on the south side of the Taylorville Square. To see our menu, click on our icon on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
This is Shalas Nagel, Executive Director at Kimmer Village in Assumption. To learn more about our services, click on our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
It's the WTIM morning show on this morning. I'm Avery Cooper. Glad to have you along. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. It's National FFA Week, celebrating all the local chapters of Future Farmers of America. And right now, I have the chapter from Stewardson-Strausburg on the phone. That includes the president, Tyler Weatherall, Vice President Abby Kelly, and Secretary Maddie Rinker. They are all seniors at the high school. And one of the things that FFA chapters do every year, they go around with their SAEs. One of you, I don't, it doesn't matter which one of you, give me a little bit of background on what an SAE is, and then we'll go from there.
So the SAE is so to fill out an SAE, you have to have, there's this website called AET, and you fill it out on there, and then it turns into your SAE where they plug in kind of like a record book almost, and then you journalize what you do, and I mean, you kind of just, you do all your finances, and you journalize like the descriptions very neatly and make sure everything is organized so that it can be judged and hopefully move on to the national level.
And that's a chapter-wide thing that you work on. Am I correct?
No,
it's an individual person. Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
how does everybody complete an SAE?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess so. How have they gone this year as far as moving on to those upper levels?
They've gone really well, actually. We had, I think, 6 people move on to district.
And have districts taken place? Yes. Yet, I beg your pardon.
No, they're coming up.
Okay, they're coming up here soon. I'd imagine soon, right?
Yeah, pretty soon.
March 8th.
Right, and then they'll have an opportunity to compete on the state, right?
Yep.
And then is there a national competition too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. Have you seen anybody go on to state or nationals in your 4 years, Tyler?
There's one person, not from our chapter, but from a different chapter, Neoga.
Mm.
She got gold in national last year as a sophomore. So that's
gold in national as a sophomore, no less. That is, I'm sure that impressed you quite a bit as president, didn't it?
It was really impressive. I was really surprised too.
Abby, what do you want folks to know about your SAE?
So my SAE is beef production placement. And in this SAE, I work for my family on our Angus cattle operation. And we are a cow-calf operation that focuses on raising productive cows and valuable calves. And I have many responsibilities around the farm, such as daily chores, watching for heat, and helping take care of different types of equipment.
Same question to you, Maddie. What do you want folks to know about your SAE?
So my SAE, I started it a couple years ago, and it's called Maddie's Side Hustle. And I make shirts with designs like for the agriculture. So my brother used to work for Mix 30, and so I made shirts for his company to wear around that said Mix 30. And if somebody has an ag design they want me to make to put on a shirt, cup, or sign, they can just send it to me, and I can make it off my Cricut that I have and send it to them.
Very cool. You'll have to send me a shirt. I'd like to take a look at it. Tyler, what about your SAE?
So I actually have 3 SAEs. My first one was from my freshman and sophomore year. It was about, so I show cows for 4-H in Shelbyville, and it was about kind of just taking care of them and doing all the finances that way. And then my second one was I worked for my grandparents' concessions, which was Weatherall Concessions. They travel around fairs and work the carnies and stuff. So I did one on like food service that way. And then my third one, which took place last summer, I worked for a company, FinTech. It's based out of Stewardson, Illinois. And I kind of did self corn pollination, bean pollination, and took care of like plots and stuff like that.
Speaking of contests and competitions and type of stuff, you guys, FFA, does a lot of judging. What is Stewardson-Strausburg doing in that department?
So this last year, we have already completed the horse judging, soil judging, and then we are now starting poultry judging, and then dairy, and then livestock.
What's your favorite to judge, Tyler?
Probably my favorite would be livestock, but our team overall placed first in soils, and I placed first in soils. So I'd say I'm probably the best at that.
Abby, what about you? What do you like to judge?
I would probably say livestock judging.
Any reason why?
I've grown up around cattle, so I mean, I kind of have like a idea of what to look for. And this past year, we competed at Lakeland, and I got 4th overall. So that was pretty cool.
Inside knowledge can only help. Maddie.
Yeah.
What about?
I would say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say livestock too.
Kind of the same reason as Abby. You're just pretty familiar with it, and you're good at it, or is there another reason?
Yeah, my family shows cows, and I used to show pigs and goats, so I've always grown up around it and always went to shows too.
Tyler, we have time for one more question. I thought I'd give you a chance to update everyone on your trip to the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis. How did it go?
It was great. So first, we stopped at a cat, Shine Diesel was the first one, and then we stopped at an exotic park, and then we went to the convention, and we spent 2 days there. And it was just overall a blast. You got to meet so many different people, and we got to spend time together as a chapter.
I heard, and I've heard this from a couple chapters now, and I'm sure a couple of listeners are probably tired of me using it, but I've heard that the National FFA Convention in Indianapolis is starting to outgrow Lucas Oil Stadium. Any truth to that?
Oh, definitely. We went to a couple conventions and stuff, and it was packed every time. Like, it was hard to find seats for all of us to sit next to each other.
That's pretty crazy to think a football stadium is too small for the National FFA Convention. That's Tyler Wetherell, senior and president of the Stewardson-Strausburg chapter of the FFA, along with Vice President Abby Kelly and Maddie Rinker, who are both seniors. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first.
WTIM.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Biden